Well, that's a very complex question, and I'm not sure I can do it justice. But my initial thoughts in response are that I very much agree with what you seem to be implying or seem to be saying, which is that the apparent overwhelming nature of the revelation of personal karma, that it's the overwhelming nature of the sense of imprisonment, that it catalyzes to the unique impersonal self, is literally overwhelming and remains overwhelming until that time, which, as you clearly describe in your question, there's a revelation of the ultimate nature of non-duality, and in that revelation of non-duality, the recognition of the non-personal or impersonal or ultimately singular. It's the recognition that all of life, the entire creative process, is one singularity. That singularity, while recognized to be the source of the I sense in all living beings and all sentient beings, is simultaneously recognized to be absolutely personal and absolutely impersonal at the same time. So in the recognition of the non-personal or impersonal nature of that absolute singularity, there's the recognition of the impersonal nature of the process of all of existence, that it's all one process, and that our personal trials and tribulations and challenges and the confrontations to our imperfections, to our ignorance, to our lack of development in so many important areas, from an impersonal context, fueled by the spiritual fragrance of awakened compassion, not only for self but for all of life, which are part and parcel of enlightened awareness. There's the recognition that human growth and development, especially at the level of consciousness and soul and self, is ultimately a painful ordeal. But that painful ordeal, from the largest perspective, is seen as a growth process, as a learning process. A learning process in which pain is unavoidable if we're truly interested in growth, self-transcendence, purification, and ultimately liberation. So in that, as you clearly described, the recognition of the impersonal nature of the ultimate singularity, that is the entire evolutionary process. In the revelation of impersonality, we recognize that our personal challenges aren't anywhere near as overwhelming as they appear to be, as when they were seen purely from the context of the personal self, which is trapped within its own bubble and doesn't see the larger impersonal and ultimately infinite context in which it exists. So I fundamentally agree with you 100%. But I wanted to add one more point, which is that the other side of the coin here, the other side of the story, especially when we're speaking about karma, is that karma is both positive and negative, and there is something that as I often speak about when I speak about evolutionary enlightenment, is that the liberating discovery and the liberating truth is that the ultimate nature of the energy and intelligence that created the universe and is creating the universe is pure positivity. So there is ultimately and absolutely a pure positivity that brought the universe into existence, and that's driving and catalyzed its existence, including this conversation we're having right now. And inherent in that pure positivity is the inherent potential, inherent in you and I, of a development and growth, and a potential unfolding in that growth that is unthinkably and unimaginably and inconceivably positive. There's the pull and the promise of a beauty and a perfection and a joy and a significance beyond rational comprehension that is inherent in all this. So as we endeavor to contemplate the mystery of karma, which of course the Buddha, as far as I understand, cautioned us not to do because he said it was beyond understanding. He's probably right. But as we're trying to do so in any case, I think that as we cultivate the courage to face into our own inadequacy and imperfections and less than perfect motivations, we also have to cultivate an equal amount of courage to contemplate our own potential for profound evolution and profound inner development that promises a kind of transformation that will ultimately be able to bring its own kind of blessing to the creative process itself. And that takes a lot of courage also. Thank you.